NWTers kicked off 2021 when they rolled up their sleeves for the Moderna vaccine. Translators like Lena Drygees were essential in the fight against COVID-19.
Because otherwise, if they don't get the vaccine and then they end up getting sick, they will probably question themselves, why didn't I just get a needle?
Squatters made headlines as the GNWT announced new measures to deal with the long-standing issue.
It's a nice cabin right there.
The Yellowknives Dene bear the brunt of the problem. Out of the 700 unauthorized structures, 500 are in their territory.
I think the government North Territory needs to spruce themselves up and say we need to find another regime, how we do land management, how we take care of the land.
He told me to get out. As I was getting out, he dragged me.
The NWT Status of Women Council launched an anonymous taxi safety survey where patrons and cab drivers shared experiences and made recommendations.
There were some situations that, as a layperson, to me seemed criminal in nature.
This winter, APTN cruised the ice road north of Yellowknife to the Bathurst Caribou Mobile Management Area, where Indigenous governments launched a new harvesting monitoring program.
We just write down what they kill us. Some they're not honest with us, but we count their head. One guy said I got 10, but I count their head was 12.
This spring, the Northwest Territories Métis Alliance voiced their frustration after their proposal to create an elders complex using new money from the federal government's Rapid Housing Initiative was rejected.
And we have never received 1 cent of housing funding from either the Government of Canada or the Government of the Northwest Territories through the Northwest Territories Housing Corporation.
In May, the Deitcho communities of Fort Simpson and Jean Marie River were devastated by flooding.
By the time we got into the truck, the second siren was going and they said that the road towards my house was washed out.
Orange replaced red on July 1st as a large crowd gathered in Sambake to honor residential school survivors.
But what I ask Canadian governments and the churches, make it easier so we can forgive you.
In the summer, APTN also visited Jatiquin to learn about one of the only monuments in the country that honors unmarked graves. It pays tribute to the roughly 300 people buried nearby. A heartbreaking history for Pascalina Nadley, an intergenerational residential school survivor.
It brings me to tears to know that relatives will never see them again.
My grandfather, Andre, was 19 years old when treaty was signed in Tulita.
This summer marked 100 years since the last numbered treaty was signed in Canada, Treaty 11.
100!
We paddled the Satu'day from Delaunay to Toledo, the same historic journey that would have taken place in 1921. Commemorations honored Indigenous resiliency across Denendeh.
We're still here, and we're doing a lot of things better because of them signing in 1921, and they never sold the land, the peace treaty.
In Bechecal, history was made with the first territorial, all-female, non-binary wildfire fighting training program.
There might not be trees intact, but I mean, we're also learning about, the crawling fires and the running fires and, the different behaviors of fires.
In the federal election, the NWT saw a large voter turnout when they chose to give Michael McLeod another 4 years in Parliament.
We were hoping that we would have a majority. If we ever needed a new mandate, it's now during a pandemic.
Switching medical support this close to the due date is very jarring and very concerning because I don't know what they're going to be like. I don't know what their opinions are.
One of the most shocking headlines this year, the birthing crisis at Stanton Territorial Hospital.
It will be approximately $12,500 for the patient and her escort to go to Edmonton and stay there for 28 days.
Which continues to see expectant mothers having no choice but to travel to Edmonton to deliver their babies.
There's been so many people wanting to support the people in Yellowknife, like myself, that have to fly down sometimes on very short notice. But I think it just speaks to the lack of understanding people have in the lack of medical support across the north, period.
We know it's going to be high traffic for the first day opening, right?
In good news, the mostly fly-in Klitschko community of Wati became permanently connected by a 97-kilometer all-season road in November.
It's a very exciting time, and for Wati people, very economical.
We ended the year on the east arm of Tunade, Great Slave Lake, in Little Cay, hearing stories of determination, like that of the Gondale family.
Okay, now you can go over it with the blue.
Who continue to petition the territorial government to allow the proper spelling of Indigenous names on official documents.
And they're taking away our right to use our names and our right to use the proper spelling when they say that it is a priority to have them.
This lady here, Louise Boyo, she's the one that I connected with when I first
and reconnection for 60 Scoop survivor Theresa Harmon, who found her family after nearly 4 decades.
I could not understand why I would be taken away. It said in the CP's report that she was incompetent.
And a whole lot of healing through Indigenous-led workshops.
I mean, as Indigenous people and as Dene people, we have all those inner and external resources within us already.
Charlotte Moore Jacobs, ABTN National News, Yellowknife.